After a 2-year absence, the 7th edition of the PwC Great Zuurberg Trek attracted a sold-out field to the Zuurberg Mountains about an hour inland from Gqeberha.
Yeah, I guess absence makes the heart grow fonder, so we're all excited to be here and look forward to an awesome 3 days.
On a chilly morning, there's nothing like a steaming cup of urban black coffee to start the day. A few of the country's top riders were lining up ahead of stage 1.
I did the race back in 2019. I think the last time it was held. We had a lot of fun trails.
The PwC Great Zuurberg Trek is the brainchild of local businessmen and farmers Trevor and Rob Hayter. And in conjunction with their loyal and supportive sponsors and partners, they've created a truly special 3-day mountain bike event. Stage 1 this year took the field away from the historic Zuurberg mountain village and out on the old pass in a northerly direction. It was 60 k's with 1,400 meters of climbing. The first deviation from the pass was a drop down to the right into the base of the valley and a steep, loose descent. Then it was back onto the pass on the other side, and the climb was technically challenging. The Zuurberg Pass is often called the Forgotten Pass. It's also known as the R335. Derek Venter and Gert-Jans van Rensburg were in 3rd place at this stage. Lala Lisani Ndebele and Masikole Zondani of the Xara Academy heading down Gower's Gauntlet. It's a superbly crafted but rough piece of single track that dropped the riders back into the valley after the summit had been reached. It's a stunning drive that winds its way through the lumpy Zuurberg range, ideal mountain bike territory. Thanks to the crystal clear morning air, the views to all sides were stupendous. And it was on to the brand new section of undulating farm roads and single tracks that took them to the 3rd water point, the PwC Oasis at 35 kilometers.
Oh, it's been great, man. Oh, beautiful ride. A lot of hills. Thanks to PwC and everyone else. I'm looking for elephants now.
It's tough, sure. But we're nearly there, I hope.
It certainly was a tough ride. The race up front was thrilling. The Valley Electrical Titan racing team of Becker and Kaiser and the Imperial Fairtree Cannondale pair of Tobangunya and Gidi were knocking chunks out of each other as they tried to get a gap. At the Zuurberg Mountain Village, it came down to a sprint finish. Becker and Kaiser just pepping Tobangunya and Ngidi to take the win. The race village is centered around the 160-year-old hotel at the top of the pass. And riders are looked after for the 3 days like kings and queens.
The hospitality and the race village concept where everything's all central, you don't have very far to go. The food is excellent. I think you come here thinking you're going to starve, but you actually end up eating quite a whole lot more.
Another stunning morning greeted the riders ahead of the Queen stage. Andy and Wesley Augustine were the mixed race leaders.
Plans for today? Yeah, I think we're just going to be reserved and just sit in other team's wheels. I think we got a bit of a lead, I think about 4 minutes.
Wesley is brother to John Lee Augustine, while Mundy is among the world's finest surf life-saving athletes. But they'd have their work cut out on the 82 kilometers and around 1,500 meters of climbing that lay in store on day 2. The start was similar to day 1 as they rode north on the pass. Pace was already red hot up front with Kaiser setting the tempo for his partner Becker. Ngidi and Tobangunya were not far off their wheels as they dropped into one of the most exhilarating single-track descents in the country. It's remote and seldom ridden, but it's called the Seven Dwarfs Drop. It's a high-speed adrenaline rush all the way to the valley floor. The strong flowing Vit River at the bottom was evidence of the recent very welcome rains in the region. Then to the day's first big ascent, Monty's Hill. It tested cold legs as they dragged themselves to the first of 4 well-positioned and stocked water points.
Oh, the day's been mixed. Nice warm-up hill, gnarly downhill, beautiful valley single track through the riverbed. And then they throw this thing that's not even on the profile map. It's just like, it's supposed to be flat, and then this thing goes like this.
That's called mountain biking. A super fast descent then spat them out onto the river once again. Now riding in a southeasterly direction, the terrain and landscape was very different. Some of the country's biggest citrus orchards created a maze of riding opportunities. The Sundays River Citrus Cooperative is South Africa's biggest exporter of citrus products. The fight for fourth was between Adrian Oosthuizen and Sydney Stradom, and the Exara pair, William Majapolo and Kabalo Chukuru, as they snaked through the orchards and along the irrigation canals. Flat for the time being. It was important not to go too hard because the climb back to the finish had a nasty sting. A steep and loose jeep track that tested the strength, stamina and climbing ability of the very best riders. It was hard going for the leaders. Those further back were perhaps re-evaluating their estimated finishing times as they ground their way up the mountain. A fresh section of single track took them up towards Camp Fig Tree and the final water point. Back onto the smoother surface of the pass, Kaiser and Becker were flying. They were chasing the Imperial Fairtree Cannondale team, who were less than a minute up the road. Good friends and strong masters, Warren Barber and Warren Dixon. In another dice for the line, the youngsters from Stellenbosch gained revenge on their fellow Western Cape team by taking the win by 3 seconds, and with it, the overall lead.
The route was proper, and especially on the first climb. It was very fast. But afterwards it was a good ride, well marked, nice trails, also challenging little bits.
Post-race recovery began with a fresh smoothie, all one of First Choice's great options. The DPD Laser team were the finish line cheerleaders. Then it was time to chill out. Massages were very popular after the hard day. And even the bikes got their own bit of special love from Squirt. For those not in the villas, there was the luxury tent option. Beds, duvets, electricity and chairs. All very cool. The final morning was colder and breezier than the previous two. 48 Ks and 1400 metres of climbing on the menu today. Let's check the bike then.
Looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I brought my turbo, so he'll just be pushing me all the way. No problem whatsoever for me.
I'm going to be behind him. I've had too many brandies to last night, so I'm going to be stuck behind him.
I'm feeling pretty positive. I had a good night's rest, so I think today is going to be a good day. The last day, and still got a little bit left in my legs.
Craig Mutton and Nicola Freitas had taken the lead in the mixed race after the Augustines had a mechanical issue, while Tracy Campbell and Juanita McKenzie were the top women's team as they headed out at express pace. It was a stage laden with single track, and they all wanted to get into the trails first. It didn't take long to see why there was such a scramble. A maze of phenomenal tracks was their playground. Firstly, as they swung down the valley on the northern side, flying at speed through the bush. Across the Zuurberg Pass via the purpose-built bridge, a wind was pumping up there. But once onto the steeper southern slopes of the mountain, they were shielded, and it was all fast, fun riding. At the base, the famed Haterdale Trails were next on the list of great trail hits. Meanwhile, the leaders were still together. 2 teams, 4 riders with just seconds between them. It was boiling up nicely. Another sprint finish was beckoning. Richard Allen was one rider who got a little carried away with the excitement. A hard right into the mountain was his fate. Thankfully, no serious damage, just ego bruising, and Richard was able to finish. After the pain and suffering of Stage 2, Stage 3 was a welcome reward. Kilometre after kilometre of flowing single tracks weaving through the bush. An absolute pleasure. And still the top 2 teams couldn't be split. Ngidi and Tobangunia hanging like limpets to Becker and Kaiser's wheels. PwC Water Point was the last chance to refuel with Nutritech before the 10-kilometre climb up the pass to the finish. Squirt lube for the drivetrain, and it was all systems go for liftoff as they turned out of the Haterdale trailhead. Up front, the battle was raging. Kaiser and Becker tried all they could to burn off the tenacious Imperial Fairtree Cannondale pair, but they were going nowhere and marked every move. Coming to the finish, it was the Valley Electrical Titan Racing's Becker and Kaiser who managed to get the smallest of gaps to take a sensational win. What thrilling racing.
The only option we had is to go flat out for the last kilometre into the finish and try and get the gap in this morning was only 3 seconds, so we knew if we could just drop at least one of them on the like a 10-metre gap, we will be able to get the win.
Nicola Freitas and Craig Mutton were super strong as they successfully defended their lead in the mixed. Nicola putting Craig under the pump as they powered up the pass to take their second stage win in a row. Christo and Tanya Ruiz from Enduro Planet were third, behind Wes and Mundy Augustine. The women's race was won by Tracy Campbell and Juanita McKenzie, ahead of Alexa de Blanche and Brigitte Hubert, with Liana Cooper and Vicky Lang third. And so the curtain came down on another very successful and hugely enjoyable PwC Great Zuurberg Trek.